Lieutenant Ryan Carter leaned against the cold metal wall of the Coalition mothership, his fists clenched as laughter echoed down the corridor. The aliens had always mocked him. To them, humanity was nothing more than a backwater species that had stumbled into the galactic community by sheer luck. He could hear their voices now, sharp and condescending. Humans. They can barely survive without us. Their technology is centuries behind. Ryan forced himself to walk away, pretending their words didn't sting. But they did. Every insult, every sneer, chipped away at him. The Coalition was made up of species with vast technological advancements, powers that made Earth seem insignificant. Yet here he was, a representative of his people, relegated to the fringes of decision-making. He thought of Earth, of the history his people had fought so hard to preserve. The wars, the exploration, the boundless curiosity that had driven humanity to reach for the stars. All of it seemed meaningless to the Coalition. To them, humans were fragile, incapable of adapting to the challenges of the galaxy. Later, while wandering the ship's archives, Ryan stumbled upon something that caught his attention. It was a fragment of an old Coalition record, barely legible, referencing a lost Terran ship. The Erebus, it was called, a vessel that had disappeared centuries ago. The text was vague, mentioning only that it had vanished in a forgotten region of space, a place the Coalition had long since abandoned. Ryan couldn't shake the thought. The Erebus wasn't just a curiosity, it was a reminder of humanity's earlier days, when they had dared to venture into the unknown without the Coalition's help. He knew the aliens wouldn't care. To them, it was just another relic of a primitive race. But to Ryan, it was more than that. He spent hours combing through the archives, piecing together the ship's last known coordinates. The more he read, the more the story of the Erebus fascinated him. Its crew had been explorers, pioneers who believed humanity's greatest strength was its ability to adapt and endure. A voice interrupted his thoughts. "Still digging through your little human myths, Carter?" It was T-Rac, a towering reptilian alien whose disdain for Ryan was obvious. "You should spend less time chasing ghosts and more time trying to be useful." Ryan didn't respond, but inside, the words burned. He wasn't chasing ghosts. He was searching for proof that humanity had always been capable of greatness, even if the Coalition refused to see it. As the hours turned into days, Ryan's obsession with the Erebus grew. He studied old star maps, calculated potential drift patterns, and cross-referenced every scrap of data he could find. The coordinates pointed to a sector of space the Coalition had marked as hazardous, a region filled with the remnants of ancient battles. It was dangerous, but Ryan didn't care. Standing in the hangar bay, staring at the small exploration ship he'd managed to requisition, he felt a surge of determination. He'd been mocked and belittled long enough. It was time to prove them all wrong. Ryan's heart raced as the small exploration vessel pushed through the void, its engines humming steadily. He was alone, just him and the endless expanse of space. The mothership was far behind now, and with it, the voices that had ridiculed him. The journey was supposed to be simple, yet as he ventured deeper into uncharted space, a strange feeling gnawed at him. The ancient records had led him here, to a forgotten region where no one had dared venture in centuries. The ship's navigation systems were unreliable in this area, overloaded by the remnants of dead star systems and debris fields. Ryan adjusted the controls manually, using his training and Earth's early star maps to guide him. He knew there were risks, but something deep inside urged him forward. The Erebus was out there, somewhere, and with it lay the key to proving humanity's worth. The hours stretched on, the darkness of space pressing in around him, broken only by the occasional glimmer of distant stars and shattered ships. As the ship glided past broken hulks and the remnants of ancient conflicts, Ryan could sense the eerie stillness of the place. It was a graveyard of forgotten wars, a place where time seemed to stand still. Yet somewhere in this wasteland of the past, there was hope. Then, in the distance, he saw it. A massive shape, partially obscured by debris, drifting silently in the void. His pulse quickened. It was the Erebus, unmistakably human in design. Its sleek, almost aggressive form contrasted sharply with the decayed ships scattered around it. The ship's hull was scarred, but intact, as though it had endured countless battles, only to be left to rot in isolation. Ryan brought the exploration vessel closer, his hands trembling slightly as he prepared to dock. The eerie silence was suffocating, as though the ship itself was watching him. He knew he had found what he was looking for, but there was no comfort in that. Instead, he felt a weight in his chest, an unspoken burden of responsibility. Inside the Erebus, the corridors were dark, but the ship's internal systems hummed faintly, indicating some power remained. It was as if the ship had been abandoned but never fully forgotten. Ryan's footsteps echoed through the metal hallways as he moved deeper into the vessel. The place smelled of old machinery and dust, a reminder of a time long past. The control room was silent, the screens flickering weakly to life as Ryan approached. He accessed the archives, only to find a trove of long-forgotten data. It spoke of a crew lost to history, their names wiped from records, their mission a mystery. But one piece of information caught his eye, a reference to an ancient armor, locked away in the lower levels. The data indicated that this armor had been designed not just for protection, but for war. It was a weapon, an ancient Terran creation, meant to defend humanity from forces far greater than anything the Coalition had faced. Ryan's mind raced. The armor was no myth. It was real, and it was here. But why had it been abandoned? What had happened to the crew of the Erebus? These questions would remain unanswered, but Ryan didn't need them. He knew what mattered. The armor was humanity's legacy, a forgotten power that could shift the balance in the upcoming war. With renewed purpose, Ryan moved toward the armor's location, determined to uncover its secrets. As his hand touched the cool metal, a low hum reverberated through the ship, and the armor seemed to respond, as if awakening after centuries of slumber. The realization hit him: humanity's strength, its true potential, had always been hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be unleashed. Now, it was his to wield. Ryan returned to the Coalition mothership with the ancient armor, the weight of his discovery settling heavily on his shoulders. He expected resistance, but he hadn't anticipated the outright mockery. When he boarded the ship, a few alien council members sneered at him, dismissing the armor as little more than an outdated relic. "Human toys," Tirak scoffed, his voice dripping with disdain. "What use is this ancient junk in a war against the Okrith?" Ryan didn't respond. He couldn't, not without making the situation worse. Instead, he calmly moved to demonstrate the armor's capabilities. He activated the suit, and immediately, the room seemed to hum with a newfound energy. The armor's sleek design glowed faintly, its systems coming to life with terrifying efficiency. With a few calculated movements, Ryan showed them the power of the suit. Its enhanced strength allowed him to lift objects several times his own weight with ease, while its integrated energy shields shimmered with defensive power. The suit's internal systems analyzed and adapted to his movements in real time, increasing his speed, accuracy, and endurance. Yet, even after the demonstration, the council members were unimpressed. "It's no match for the Okrith's firepower," one of them remarked, clearly unconvinced. Ryan's fists clenched. The aliens didn't understand. They didn't see what he saw. The armor wasn't just a tool for physical enhancement, it was a symbol of humanity's resourcefulness, its adaptability. If they didn't see it now, they would soon enough. The Okrith launched their attack without warning. Their ships appeared suddenly on the outskirts of the Coalition's defensive perimeter, their superior technology overwhelming the initial wave of defenses. The aliens scrambled to mount a response, but the Okrith were relentless. Their weapons tore through the Coalition's lines like a hot knife through butter, and panic began to set in. The Council's confidence shattered, and it wasn't long before they turned to Ryan. Their arrogance had finally given way to desperation. "We underestimated the Okrith," one of the leaders said, his voice strained. "Carter, we need you." Ryan didn't hesitate. He knew this was his moment, the moment when humanity would prove its worth. He donned the armor once again, feeling the familiar hum of its power surge through him. The battlefield was chaos, filled with the deafening roar of weapons fire and the screams of dying ships. Ryan moved through the carnage with unnatural speed, the armor's agility allowing him to outmaneuver the Okrith's superior forces. Where the Coalition's ships faltered, Ryan's instincts and the armor's power took over. He dove into enemy lines, tearing through Okrith soldiers with precision. His enhanced strength allowed him to rip through their advanced vehicles, while the suit's shields absorbed incoming fire without flinching. The Okrith, stunned by the sudden resistance, began to falter. Ryan fought with the sheer determination of a species that had been written off, showing the aliens and the Okrith alike just how far humanity could go when pushed to the edge. As Ryan cut through the Okrith ranks, the Coalition's ships rallied, inspired by the display of human resolve. The tide began to turn, but Ryan knew this battle wasn't over. The Okrith had underestimated humanity too, and they were about to learn just how wrong they were. The battle raged on for hours, but the momentum had shifted. Ryan, clad in the ancient armor, led the charge, his every movement sending Okrith soldiers fleeing in terror. His mind was sharp, calculating, as he moved through the battlefield with deadly efficiency. The Okrith, initially confident in their overwhelming power, now found themselves on the defensive. They had underestimated humanity, and it was becoming painfully clear. The Coalition forces, spurred by Ryan's unexpected success, rallied around him. Alien ships, once hesitating, now fought with newfound courage. They followed his lead, coordinating their attacks with precision, inspired by the relentless spirit of a human who had refused to be crushed by their mockery. The Okrith's advanced technology had given them an edge, but it was humanity's adaptability and sheer will to survive that turned the tide. Ryan's movements became a blur of calculated strikes, each one precise, each one a testament to humanity's untapped potential. His enhanced senses allowed him to anticipate the enemy's moves, while the armor's systems adapted in real time, giving him an edge that no Okrith soldier could match. With every fallen enemy, Ryan's confidence grew. The armor, once an unknown relic, had become an extension of his will. The Okrith began to falter, their lines breaking as Ryan cut through their ranks like a force of nature. They tried to retreat, but it was too late. The Coalition's forces, now fully emboldened, pushed forward, their weapons synchronized with Ryan's lead. The Okrith had no choice but to retreat into the depths of space, their forces shattered, their confidence obliterated. As the last of the Okrith ships disappeared into the black void, Ryan stood among the wreckage, the armor's systems humming softly in the silence. The battlefield was littered with the remnants of the enemy, a testament to humanity's unexpected triumph. Ryan's chest rose and fell with each breath, the adrenaline still coursing through his veins. But amidst the chaos, a sense of accomplishment settled over him. He had done it. He had proven humanity's worth. Back aboard the Coalition mothership, the alien leaders approached him with a newfound respect. They had witnessed the impossible and had come to realize just how wrong they had been. "We underestimated you," Carter, one of the council members admitted, his voice heavy with humility. "Your people have shown us what true strength is." Ryan's gaze was steady as he looked them over, his voice calm but resolute. "It's not just about strength," he said. "It's about what we can do when we have nothing left to lose. Humanity's resilience is our greatest asset." The council nodded in agreement, their earlier arrogance replaced by a grudging admiration. Ryan had not only saved them but had changed the perception of humanity within the galactic community. Earth was no longer just a small, insignificant planet, it was a force to be reckoned with. The final words came from Ryan as he looked out at the stars, his voice quiet but firm. "This is just the beginning. We've only scratched the surface of what humanity can achieve." He knew this victory wasn't just his own. It was a victory for all of humanity. The ancient armor had shown them what they were capable of, and now, humanity's legacy was forever written in the stars.